All right, hey everyone, Nick Barber here. I want to show you soup to nuts how to edit a video, upload it to YouTube, create the poster image, as well as do basic edits inside of Adobe Premiere Rush. So we're using Rush because we're not using full-blown Adobe Premiere, and Rush is designed for that sort of social video creator who doesn't need all the full-blown tools of Adobe Premiere Pro. So this is the application when you open it once it loads. So I'm actually going to hit Create New Project. And I'm going to select the files that I want to embed into this project. You can, of course, add more later on. But I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to name my project Test Video. And that just gets me started. But of course, I'm going to add more content afterwards. And I'm just going to go over here, and this is my kind of file bin. So if I want to add something, I can. I can click on this plus sign here and add in media. I can look for things on the desktop or in the browser. But if I know where it is, sometimes it's also easier just to click and drag it in, and I downloaded a file, so I'm going to just bring that in for later. Okay, so a couple of easy things to do here. First off, if you want to trim basically the top or the tail of your video, basically the beginning or the end, very similar in terms of controls that you might get in Adobe Audition. Over here on the left-hand side, if I hover over it, I get those arrows, and I can just very quickly trim the beginning. I can also very quickly trim the end. If I wanted to cut this clip in half, I would just put my playhead somewhere and then use this scissor tool over here. Cool thing about Premiere Rush and really all of the Adobe applications now is that you can hover over buttons, and most of them will give you a little bit of an animation to show you exactly what it's going to do. So that's how we would split the clips into two. If, for example, we wanted to change some of the volume on the clips, say, for example, let's say like this was one video and this was something completely different, and the audio wasn't really matching up in terms of volume level, I would go over here. You've got a graphics panel, an effects panel, a color panel, speed, audio, and crop and rotate. So under the audio section, we would twirl that out, and we can adjust the clip volume here. Turn it up or turn it down. We can also get rid of the audio altogether if we wanted to by clicking that mute button. We could say, is this music? Is this voice? We could say auto volume. We could say reduce background noise. But all of these sort of auto-generated effects that you apply are going to change your audio. So you really only want to add the things you actually really need. You might say, well, why don't I just, add all of these? Every effect that you add is going to change and manipulate your audio, in some cases not for the better. So I'm just going to leave auto volume on that. And really, this is basically all I'm going to need to do for my audio. If I want to see more of the waveform action, I can just click that little drop down, and you'll be able to see a bit more there. So that is, or those are basic cuts and basic edits. Now, you also saw at the beginning that I included a data graphic. So in order to add this in, all I got to do is click and drag and place it wherever I want it to go. And if, say, for example, I want it to last longer, I can just click and drag this handle, and it's going to go longer and longer and longer. And now when I play it back, we start with the video.
Most relevant data in the market for Agile CMS. So again, thank you for your time. I don't want to take up any.
All right, I'm actually going to mute these audio clips so that they just don't distract me for now. And so we can just work with this data graphic. Again, it just sort of pops into there. It's not super exciting, but it sort of gets the job done. If I wanted to add just maybe a little bit more polish to this, what I might do is go up here into the effects panel and turn on my pan and zoom. So what that's going to do is it's going to say, okay, at the start, right here, see how it's highlighted and it's at the start? We're going to be all the way zoomed out. And then at the end of the clip, we're going to be kind of zoomed into here. Now, that's not going to work for me because it's actually going to cut off some of the text and some of the graphic. So I'm just going to adjust these handles so that most of the graphic is still in. So what you're going to see when I play this back is it's going to start really wide and it's going to finish just a little bit zoomed in. And that's going to give just a slight little motion, just a little bit of interest to this overall graphic, so that when I go back and I hit play, now it looks a little shaky here, just because it's not like fully rendered and all of that good stuff. But when you export this, it will look much cleaner. So there's a little bit of movement there, which is nice. Gives a little bit of a visual interest. And you might say, well, what if I don't have a graphic that's ready to go? Easiest thing to do is just build something in PowerPoint. Export that PowerPoint slide as a JPEG and bring that in just as I did, like with this graphic. Super, super easy. One other thing that gives your video some nice polish are text animations, text graphics. So I'm going to go up here into the top left and select my graphics and go Add Graphic. And I can do one of these fancy ones that are in there. But one of the real popular ones, one of the real popular types of graphics that you're going to see in videos are called lower thirds. They're called lower thirds because they end up in the lower third part of the screen. And it's a nice way to identify someone who's on camera, your speaker. All I need to do is now just click and drag, bring this in. And then you can see here it will animate in. And it will animate out. Now, I don't like that because it's really hard to read. If you notice this when it comes up, it's hard to read with the shirt in the background and all those sorts of things. So I'm actually going to find one that maybe fits a little bit better. Maybe it's something like this. And let's see how that goes. Yeah, so it's not perfect, but you sort of get the idea that now this is a little bit easier to read. And if I want to customize this, I come over here into the panel and I can customize everything. I can customize the color, the size, obviously the text, to fit my brand colors so it stays on brand. For example, maybe I come in here and I just double click. And I come in here. And maybe that's, maybe that's what I do. I don't love this because, it's not, I wouldn't put a company title here before the name. I would go more with a graphic that looks like this. And I would do something like something like that. And again, you know, that's not perfect, but over here you can actually mess around with some of the shadowing, some of the backgrounds, those sorts of things. So, you know, I might, you know, add a shadow to stand out. Maybe I change the color, all of those sorts of things. You can kind of go crazy with some of the graphics and stuff, but those are, you know, the basics of editing your video inside of Premiere Rush. We've talked about how to do cuts, how to trim top and tail, how to bring in graphics, how to animate those graphics, how to bring in text graphics, and how to modify those. So now that we're sort of at a point where we've kind of done all of the basics inside of Premiere Rush, now is the time to actually get our video out. And this is a very, very simple process. So I'm just going to go up here to the top and click Share. I'm going to name my video something relevant, of course. I'm going to save it to my desktop just to make it easy to find, or, you know, I'll just throw it in a downloads folder, and then that way I know where it is. You can leave all of the default settings, and then you'll just hit export. And depending on how long your video is, how many graphics you have in your video, so on and so forth, it will take longer or shorter time to actually export. In the meantime, while this exports, one of the good things to do is think about, you know, hey, can I create a poster image or a cover image for this video? You would do that in the same way that you did with the podcast project that we looked at on this channel. I like to use Adobe Premiere Spark. I am going to let's see. I am going to go over to Adobe Premiere Spark in just a bit, but let me show you how to upload this content to YouTube. You're going to log in. You're actually just going to click this and go upload video. You're going to select your files. You're going to give it a really relevant title. Think of yourself as like a news producer. You want something that's going to grab your audience's attention. So something like that. I'm going to throw in a description in there. This is where I would upload my thumbnail, my poster image. And again, you would use the same process as you did with the podcast assignment. The only difference is, remember that your video is more rectangular than it is for that square podcast poster image that we created previously. So you just want to make sure that you're using a rectangular poster image. A rectangular poster image, if you need an aspect ratio, it's 16:9. That's the same as your video. If you don't provide a poster image, then YouTube will select one for you. You fill out your metadata, which is all of the information about your video. I'm not going to add any subtitles or end screens or cards at this point. That would be a little bit more advanced than what we're looking to do. And then depending on the visibility you want of your video, private means you need to share a link with someone and also say that this person can actually watch the video. So, this is fine if you're doing a video review or things like that. It wouldn't be okay if you're submitting it for an assignment or anything along those lines. In that case, I'd want you to use unlisted or public. The difference between unlisted and public is that unlisted means anyone with the link can watch the video, whereas that's different from private. Private means you have to specifically invite certain people to be able to watch your video. Unlisted means anyone with the link can watch. Public means it's indexed by search, it's indexed by Google. It means anyone can find it and see it. So then I'm going to hit save. And now my video is public on this link. Or I'm sorry, it's unlisted on this link. So, again, I would submit this link or share this link with anyone that I want to visit it. And that is the process of going through and publishing a full video using Adobe Premiere Rush. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.